Hey folks, it's Lauren from Snowy's here with the companion Aquaheat NXT portable hot water unit. Now it might look a little bit familiar to you for the eagle-eyed campers out over there. It's an awesome new unit with some great upgrades from Companion. It's a very simple and quick operation. So we've got it all set up. We've got our gas in the back here, pumps connected, fully powered, ready to go. So nothing much has changed here. It's just a simple on-off button at the front here. And then we'll grab our little shower head, hold it over our water drum, and it's just a matter of hitting the start button. Now I've just hit the start button and you can immediately hear the pump activate. You probably also heard a couple of little clicks there from the piezo ignition. Now I've got the shower head turned off to allow the system to prime and get a little bit of pressure backfilling. So that's happened for a bit now. I'm going to flick the switch on and allow the water flow, and we'll also hear the piezo kick in. There we go, you can hear that in the background there, and that's going to ignite now and allow the actual heating function to start. Now we can see that this red flame has come on. That's indicating that the gas flame is active and the water is actively heating. It is a safety feature in there. When there's no active flow of water, the gas won't ignite, so that's an extra bonus that you've got there. And we can see that our water flow is starting to heat up from our inlet temperature here in our 44-gallon drum of around about 15 degrees, and our outlet temperature on the back end here is 23 degrees. Ooh, skipping up to almost 24 degrees. Yep, 24 degrees now. So we'll see that slowly climb. Now the important thing to note about the Aquaheat NX is that it does have the capacity to heat water by a maximum of 30 degrees above ambient temperature. It also has a maximum temperature of around about 50 degrees. So basically what this means is that if you are using your Aquaheat with water that is at an ambient temperature of 20 degrees or above, you will only ever max out at your 50 degrees. If you are using it to heat up water that is, say, middle of winter, it's super cold, super frosty, you've popped it in ambient water temps around 0 degrees, you're going to max out at 30 degrees there because it's going to raise it 30 degrees above ambient. Now, as we can see, we've been running this one for just a couple of minutes now, and our temperature's gone up 26 degrees there. So having an ambient temperature of 16 degrees, we can expect the water to max out at around about 46 degrees here. Now, in terms of flow rate, the pump in the Aquaheat is pushing out 2 litres per minute. So the flow rate itself isn't adjustable. However, the head does have a couple of different settings to give you different spray pattern. So the setting that I've got it on now incorporates the outside jets as well as an interior row of jets on the shower rows there. So rotating it one click around is going to turn on 4 internal jets on the inside of the shower head. So that's going to obviously give you a little bit less water flow, but no specs on that specifically. And then if I click it again, that's going to give us a nice broadcasting shower flow, but it's only using the outside jets that we've got around the top of the rows there. And then when we click one more around, it's going to incorporate all the different layers inside the shower head ring. So there's a couple of different settings there to control, I guess, the pressure through the top of the shower head. So another couple of minutes have come past, and I just wanted to double check the temperatures that we're looking at here. Earlier when we looked at this, our ambient inlet temperature was 16 degrees, and I think our outlet temperature was around about 25, 26 degrees. Now obviously, because we're using this 44-gallon drum and the water is cycling through, as our outlet temperature increases, our inlet temperature is increasing because our thermal mass in the drum is also increasing. So we've just in a couple of minutes, we've jumped up quite significantly, heating the water in the barrel, but also with that outlet temperature sitting at around about 32 degrees there. Now, I also mentioned before that it will cut out at 50 degrees. We've got up here a little indicator that says cut out. You'll get a temperature or a thermometer here with a circle and a line through it flash up. Basically, all that is going to do is cut the gas off inside the unit to actively stop heating the water. Once the inlet temperature or the outlet temperature has dropped back down below 50 degrees, it will trigger the unit to click in again. So it's just a safety mechanism right at that 50 point to cut out the heating function. Another really common question that we get asked about these units is whether or not it will still operate without gas connected, and the answer is yes, it will. If you happen to run out of gas on a trip, or you're going away in summer and it's really hot but you still want to use this unit without the heating, the only issue that you're going to have is the piezo will make a click, click, click noise because it's always going to be looking for the gas. So as long as you don't mind that and you just want to run through cold water, you won't have any issues at all doing that with the machine. Now, in terms of hot water, we've got connected here a 468 gram propane cylinder. Now, these are the single-use disposable propane cylinders that have a BOM fitting that screw straight into the back of the unit. These cylinders, roughly the unit, if we talk power consumption or gas consumption, companions state this as being 19 megajoules per hour. Doing some quick calculations with propane gas, that works out to roughly around about 378 grams per hour. So using something like this little cylinder, you're probably going to get about an hour, 15 minutes use out of it. However, if you do want to use it with a larger LPG bottle, whether that be a 3/8 BSP or your LCC 27 larger swap and go bottle style, you can do it by grabbing a couple of hoses. You just need to make sure that it's got the bomb end, which is the end which will connect to your unit, and then the opposing end is going to be the end that matches up with your gas cylinder. Now, it does not require batteries to ignite the piezo. It does charge by 12 volt power, and we'll have a look at that a little bit later in the video. But you're approximately going to get around about 2 hours of runtime off one single charge of the battery. And it's going to take around about 4 hours to recharge that battery again. So that's about it for the operation side of things. Stay tuned and we'll run through a bit more of the finer specs after the break. Hold up fam, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any awesome content on the Snowies channel. Let's get into it. So your unit will come with your power cable, shower head, and also your pump as well. It weighs around about 7.5 kilos. So it's actually quite nice and light, easy to carry around with this nice big sort of thick handle on the top. It's quite comfortable as well, being wide like so. And the measurements are around about 38 centimeters tall by about 16 wide, about 44 centimeters deep here too. We're made with like a heavy duty plastic. We've got a couple of side panels here that are metal. They're like a powder coated metal, and there are some sort of soft, it feels like a soft sort of silicone-y finish, I guess, to the plastic as well. It's not like shiny and hard. It's got that almost a flocked feel to it, which is quite nice. So the front of the unit has a very simple operating panel, which is what we like to see. We're just on and off here to activate the power to the panel, and then start is what's going to actually activate your pump and your heating system. We've also got a knob here to twist the temperature setting. It's not going to control the flow. The only thing it's going to do is control the heat of the flame inside, which is obviously going to be increasing your gas temperature. Then down the bottom, we've got the power outlet for your pump and your pump connection. And this is your shower head connection. So really easily indicated by a little blue O-ring here for your inlet water, which is your cold water. And then the red inlet to indicate your hot water, which is obviously going to be your shower head output. So on the sides as well, we've got this venting panel on the top and the bottom, and that's going to be identical on the other side as well. It's probably worth mentioning that whilst the unit is up and running and it's pumping out your lush hot water, it's also going to pump out a little bit of heat on the sides here as well. So you probably just want to make sure you've got a bit of an air gap around there to allow that heat to dissipate off. Now the back of the unit, I'll just tilt it up so you can see, we've got our inbuilt regulator up the top here, so that's fully fixed and not movable at all. Our portable propane cylinder here, which has got the BOM fitting on the top, that's designed to screw directly into the unit like so. As I mentioned earlier, these are, whilst they're quite lightweight and small, they're really convenient for packing and things like that. But they are single use. So if that's a consideration for you and you want to use it with an LPG bottle, as I mentioned earlier, you can get a gas hose to connect to here. You just got to make sure it's the BOM fitting on one side, with the other side being compatible with your gas cylinder. Other probably really important thing to mention is because it's got an inbuilt regulator in here, you don't want a gas hose that has a regulator on board, because otherwise you're double regulating, you're not going to get your gas flow. So for an LPG hose, unregulated BOM to your gas bottle connection. Now down the bottom here, we've got a little inbuilt fuse there that you can replace if required. And we've also got our DC charging cable input. Now on board, the unit has a 3,800 milliamp lithium battery. The charging cable that you get with it has a max load of about 1 amp. So your 3,800 milliamps is equivalent to about 3.8 amps. Your cable can pump in 1 amp an hour. So you're looking at around about maximum 3.5 to 4 hours of recharge time if you're doing that from the battery being dead flat. Now, the other cool thing to note about this cable is that it's 5 meters long, so it's absolutely epic, and it will allow you to have your shower set up well away from your battery and all other sort of power sources, which is good when you are using your water. So gonna spin this back around the front here, and we'll have a little check out of the pump hose, because one of the key pieces of feedback that we've had over the years on hot water systems is I'm pretty much every single time we'll find that the pump itself doesn't actually fit into a jerry can, which is really inconvenient when you're on the road. So Companion have listened to that feedback, and you can see here this nice slimline pump slips beautifully inside a jerry can. Up the top here, we're just going to connect in our pump into the inlet there, and then our little power, little DC pin there into the unit. Now, the other thing you may have noticed, if you're familiar with the previous model as well, is that we've got proper hose fit, or not proper hose fittings, but universal standard tap fittings on these hoses here, which is a bit of an upgrade, because previously the model had a custom size for the unit. So if people misplaced or lost or broke their fittings, it was quite difficult to get the replacements. In this case, it's just a quick trip to the big green shed and you've got yourself some new connectors. So the shower hose is again the same with that upgraded connector into the unit. I did forget to mention, sorry, your pump hose is 1.5 meters long. So your shower hose is going to be 2.5 meters long, and that's just connecting straight onto the outlet port like so. The shower head has had quite a decent redesign as well. We've got a couple of different spray patterns that we can adjust up the top here. And we've got a switch which is really easy to use. In my personal opinion, the previous model, the switch was a little bit sticky sometimes, but this one feels really nice against the thumb and moves up and down really easily. We've also got the addition of this awesome shower head holder, which has, as you can see here, a magnetic back as well as a suction cap back. Now the suction cap will just obviously suck to any surface that you've got, and it will hold it in place quite steadily. So I'm just going to peel that away. And the connection as well that the suction cap has to the back of the bracket is quite large. So as you can see, the diameter of the suction cap plug in here is quite a lot larger than the bracket. So to actually get that suction cap out takes a little bit of effort. So you're not going to have to really be worrying about the bracket and suction cap combination failing at any point. There we go, got it out. But if you do want to, say, the side of your four-wheel drive or your caravan or something like that, you've got a magnetic surface, you can just magnet it to that like so, and that's going to be quite a solid connection as well. The other nifty thing is that the bracket is fully adjustable in its position, and it will hold the position even with the weight of the shower head on there. So obviously if you're magneting it up to something that's like a long solid wall, you're going to be limited by the base of the shower head there. But the reason why it's very cool is if you're using like a full drive shower tent installed onto your roof racks, and you've got some extrusions along there, aluminium may not be so handy, but if you've got a magnetic extrusion, you can just magnet this to the top, and that will allow your shower head to be fully adjustable like so. The other thing to mention is that both the shower head and the pump itself are available separately as individual components. The reason why this is cool is because they are backwards compatible with the previous model with a bit of adjusting. So check out our videos on those individual components for more details. And finally, before we head off, another really common question that we get on these units is whether or not, especially now these will have universal hose connectors, whether or not we can just go and plug a mains water hose straight onto the unit. Really important to note, the unit itself is rated, all the internal componentry and everything like that is rated to a flow rate of 2 litres per minute. So if you do want to connect it to mains power, you can do that. However, you will have to pick up a flow regulator from somewhere, potentially even like Reese Plumbing or another, I don't know if you'll be able to get them from a hardware store, but Reese Plumbing or another plumbing supply. It's usually just a little adapter which you can screw onto a mains tap, and that will regulate and drop the flow down to about 2 litres or 2 litres or less per minute, which is the flow rate that this unit needs. So basically the short answer to that question is yes, you can use it with mains power, but you must also in conjunction with a flow regulator that does not come with the unit. You've got to get it separately. So that's about it for the awesome new Aquaheat NXT. Check it out at snowies.com.au at our low prices every day.